Welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to be back with you for another special program. From time to time, as we've promised you, that we are going to be having impromptu programs so that at least we can get to understand more about things that affect us, that affect our lives. And today we are going to be talking about the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, the PURC. Now, it is the regulator of public utilities in Grenada, such as electricity and water is soon to come on board as we understand it. And so we have two guests with us today. We have with us Sophia Phillip, that's right, and Sophia Phillip is Consumer and Public Affairs Officer. And we also have with us an engineer, Davrel Bola. Lady Sophia, good evening to you. How are you doing today?
Hi, good evening, Mikey. Great, how are you?
Well, I'm good as well. And Darrell, welcome to the program as well.
Yes, Mikey, thanks for having me.
Okay, and I must say it's a pleasure again. So we hear and a lot about it. We've been hearing a lot about it. In recent times, the commission was established in 2019, so it's relatively
Right.
new, and so I think that's what makes it more important for us to have these kinds of discussions. Now, let's ask our first question and get right into it. Now, the PURC is fairly new. Can you tell us about its roles and functions? What are the responsibilities of that organization?
So, Mikey, we have various roles and functions and definitely responsibilities here at the PURC. Some of them include we define the rate for electricity in Grenada to ensure that it is fair and reasonable for all. We also ensure the sustainable use of energy by encouraging Grenadians to apply for our renewable energy programs to produce their own electricity. We also investigate complaints and disputes between consumers and the utility. But most importantly, what we do here at the PURC, we protect the interests of all of the consumers in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique.
Now, so since you've been established, do you find that people are becoming more and more aware of the PRC and what they are supposed to do? Are you finding people are engaging you now?
People are definitely engaging us, especially through two of our programs that we are going to speak about later. But we are still gaining momentum because, as you rightfully said, we are fairly new. New, but definitely important. This is why we are here.
Well, good. Thank you very much for that explanation. Now, what are some of the ways that the PRC ensures that there is a sustainable supply of electricity?
Okay, so
So when you're speaking about, sorry, Gabriel, you want to go?
it's okay.
Okay, so Sophie, maybe we can have you first, and then we
Or
can
ladies
hear from
first.
Gabriel after. Yeah. Okay, go ahead,
Okay,
Sophie.
let's lead the charge. So when we are talking about a sustainable supply of electricity, the immediate solution that comes to mind is that there is definitely a need for the inclusion of renewable energy sources. These are sources which are compatible with health, nature, and definitely the environment, and sources too which are very low risk. And then, of course, there is also regulations. And Davril, maybe you can chime in here on the regulations bit.
Yeah, so Mikey, you speak about a sustainable supply of electricity. Now, to ensure that there's a sustainable supply of electricity, you have to ensure firstly that there's a utility company, right? So and I have to address this because there has been, to some extent, a level of misinformation and disinformation where there is this rumor that the PRC is going to get rid of Greenland, and that's absolute rubbish. That's absolutely not true. And then you have, well, other individuals without verifying the source, just taking the story and running with it. But what we do to ensure that there's a sustainable supply of electricity, we have to protect the utility, but we need to also ensure that there's a level playing field. So for the utility, you're speaking about standards regarding procedures, efficiency, the list goes on, right? But then now with distributed generation, as put in place by primary legislation, the Electricity Act of 2016 as amended, and the secondary legislation, which is the policy that we're defining, which is part of our role. Third parties, especially those getting in the generation market, have to understand also that there are procedures to follow. So that makes the supply sustainable. With distributed generation, the approach to energy has to change a bit. There has to be that switch. It's not just one centralized company burning fuel and then putting out electricity and everybody consuming. There is now the opportunity for different sites and individuals to participate in that energy market. So essentially having that single buyer model where Greenlock is the only one that buys electricity, you have to have all those different players playing on the same pitch. And another way to ensure a sustainable supply of electricity, you got to remove yourself as much as possible from uncertainty. What is uncertain right now? The price of fuel, the way it's fluctuating up and down. I mean, we're seeing some of the effects where coming back from the lockdown and the demand for fuel, that the prices are just going crazy. Now, you cannot have a sustainable source if the main front of energy, the prices are not stable. So
Right.
yeah, I like to refer to Grenada as a sun-kissed land of smiles, right? When you have so much resources here, you have to use them. I mean, we have so much sunlight in particular, and sunlight is not the only form of energy, but it's the easiest one to harness.
Right.
Now, within that concept of sustainable supply of energy, you have to also understand your limitations. So yes, solar might be the big thing here, but understand that one of the downsides to solar energy is very land intensive. Now, Grenada is very small. So you have to understand the limitations. You're not going to get into a space where every time you see a tree, you're like, oh, that shade, cut it down. It's not good for solar. At the end of the day, you don't want to be cutting down everything, including agricultural land, residential land, just to put solar, because essentially what you'll be doing is creating another problem by trying to solve one. It's like a kid just bought his chocolate ice cream, double scoop, if you will, walking down the road and then realize, hey, my shoelace is undone. And then he's like, if I trip over my shoelace, I fall, my ice cream goes. So he bends over to do his shoelace, and there goes the ice cream. So you can't create another problem by solving one. So we have to understand our limitations and work within them. Then you have the little issue of COP26 I just finished. You
Right.
need to
Right.
go green. It's not a question of whether you want to or I'm sitting on the line. You have to. And with the impact that's having on the world, it's us in these small islands that's going to feel the heat, and quite soon we're going to be first in line. So we have to promote renewables and create an enabling environment for renewable energy through policy and programs. And we have to also ensure that the best methods are in line with international best practices, and that there are functional models that we use to determine the pricing mechanism. And that would really be seen, the impact of that would be seen with a higher penetration of renewables.
Okay.
So that is, yeah, that covers the sustainable supply part.
Okay, but you actually mentioned the dilemma that we might be faced with, and the ice cream was a nice analogy. So how do we find some middle ground here? Have you been able to identify what the middle ground is? Yes, we want to go into renewables, but where does Grenada stand? What might be the best options for Grenada here?
Well, it has to be a mix, right? So we have a small island where, remember, one of the intricate characteristics of renewables is that it's intermittent. So there are days that would have more sun than others. It depends on your location, the fields of the shadows. Um, then remember, we're close to the equator, which puts us somewhere within the intertropical conversion zone, which means that for a large part of the year, we're going to have a bit of cloud cover every now and then, albeit intermittent. And one of the interesting things about being a small island is that if there's substantial cloud cover. If, let's say, for instance, there's a cloud cover in Grand Anse, there's a huge possibility on occasions that it means that there's cloud cover in Certez. It's not like Europe where you have it's snowing in Germany, but it's sunny in Spain or in France. So we have to have a balance. There's opportunity for different sources of renewables. There's obviously solar, there's the possibility of offshore wind, which brings its multiple benefits, but also has a bit of risk considering the fact that we're in the hurricane belt.
Right.
Then there's hydro, and then there's always the one that's mentioned, geothermal. So there are various options, and as we continue to explore renewables, there's always these creative means that come up to harness energy. So it's not just one way, and that's it. There are different options. So it's about finding the best energy mix, a system that would be perfectly balanced, and then just having that backup in case there's that level of intermittency of a huge energy bank, which will be a capacitor bank or battery bank, and then having the diesel that we're currently using as our main source, having it as backup just in case we need to balance out. But we can go to a very high penetration of renewables without depleting or causing any problems within that concept.
Right. And the idea of self-generation comes up. Can you list some of the benefits that you can see coming out of the IPP and self-generation program or self-generator program?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer that question by using one of the questions you asked. The first thing that comes out as a benefit, sustainability. And with the self-generator program, for instance, it also helps with the pricing mechanism again. With the current concept that we're trying to implement, which is net metering, you actually get to use first. So that helps in a large part with offsetting costs, and understand that there is that push within the whole concept on behavior as well, because so no names because of the whole confidentiality aspect, but I will tell you about a conversation recently with an individual who got interconnected recently, and he was saying, hey, well, in the days when I'm doing really well with sunlight, I would tell my wife to use the equipment at home that has the most load. So you do get that bit of demand side management, which is a bit of evolution of behavior. But that is what is expected. I mean, the way the world is going now, everything is digital, everybody is with a cell phone. It's something that people would have to get used to, but the concept of maybe switching your washing machine on and off remotely might not be something that's so strange in the next couple of years. I mean,
Right, right.
yeah. So you do have that part of it where you do get to impact your cost for electricity by using the electricity that you generate. And then there is the concept of residual income, because you do get to sell your excess. I would hardly dare to believe that there is an individual who, with a system installed, that would be constantly using throughout every minute of the energy producing day, would they be using everything. So you do get that's why the net metering concept comes in, where you put some on the grid, you take back some, it's netted out, you get to sell your excess to the grid. So there's that residual income part of it. Another benefit would be, well, you're helping with all the international obligations that are being made right now, and that have to be met. There's a reason for it. It's about protecting the planet. So in some way, getting into those programs, you're helping with meeting those obligations. Then you have the concept of better pricing, because when you do benefit as a self-generator, having generated electricity, having used first, having sold your excess, you actually help other people around you to benefit with the whole concept of the billing mechanism, with the renewable energy charge, renewable energy, albeit that the investment upfront is slightly elevated, it does give you that benefit with cheaper energy. So you do get that benefit by, well, and it's across the island, because everybody then would benefit from cheaper energy, from that aspect of the billing mechanism, where it's divided into the non-fuel and the fuel. The fuel aspect would then be affected by that. So you don't have to depend on high or unstable fluctuating fuel cost. Then you have switching to the independent power producer, the IPP. You have the concept of investment, and it's not a get rich quick concept, but it is a very solid investment. And here in Grenada, we at the PRC would have engaged various financial institutions, and we would have put out the invitation to all of them. There were some that showed more interest than others, but the underlying fact is that there are financial institutions on the island, both banks and credit unions, that are open to the concept of financing such projects. So essentially, financing for these things are available. So all of these are some of the benefits that would come from those programs, and the end result would be not only having a more sustainable source, even to the point of speaking about energy security, but also better pricing. And as we would have seen, better pricing actually drives consumption up, which is good, and it creates also a stable environment. So I mean, everything is intertwined. You speak about investment, you speak about the possibility of manufacturing. All of these things are impacted when electricity prices are not only more affordable but more stable.
Right, right. And I mean, the quality of information that you're giving now is so interesting, because if we are more aware of these things, it really would help inform some of the decisions that we make in terms of generation of energy and the use of energy, the use of it. And we're going to get into that, speaking of use, just now. And I know Sophia is excited about this too, that persons, I see that they are listening attentively, will be asked some questions, and there's going to be an opportunity. Yes, Sophie is doing the happy dance. The opportunity for persons to win on the program. So viewers, listen attentively, because we have some questions that will be coming shortly. Are these and I know you said about the financial institutions who are interested in coming on board and providing some sort of loan facility for persons who would want to take that route. But are these systems and so on that we speak of from a consumer end, are they costly? Are they expensive? And in the context of the average man, is it something that's affordable?
Well, the definition of affordable varies from person to person. What I would say, well, if I were to give a direct answer, I'd say yes, it is. And when you look at the concept of affordable, you look at more than just the what comes out of my pocket, how much do I pay? You look at the whole concept of externalities, right?
Right.
Avoided cost. Well, you look at so many different things. So, is it affordable to you're a high consumer? Let's say, for instance, you invest.
My last bill was $600.
Okay, so you invest maybe in a 2.5 kilowatt power system. Maybe that sets you back 12, 14 grand. But you get to offset that bill, generating energy which you would use for yourself, and then having a bit of residual income where you get to sell something. So based on how the year goes, let's say there's a couple of months where your bill is bare minimum. Let's say there's a couple of months where you maybe just pay 90, 100, $120. Now, there's two components to that. Not only what you were putting out previously, so that $600, you take away, say, 150 from it. that saved money that you get to do something else with.
Right, right.
The fact that you can also be generating a small side income, and the fact that within a couple of years, and that depends on the size of your system, consumption, how much you would have paid upfront, a couple of different factors. Within 3, 4, 5, 7 years, you would have actually paid for that system.
Okay.
And so
Wow.
it makes a lot of sense from a lot of different perspectives.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah,
Because this sounds exciting.
download the form on the website and come into the office.
All right. Yeah, this sounds really exciting. We think about buying a vehicle and it depreciates from the moment you drive it out of that parking lot, and we think about that. Sometimes we want to have 2, 3 cars. But I'm thinking, okay, probably I can decide to not purchase a particular thing that I don't really need but want. For something like this, because I don't want to always have to be thinking about cutting costs with regards to how I use my appliances and so on. I want to have I want to be relaxed, and I think that kind of plan is a plan that, if you ask me, is one that can work for many of us. So I'm serious about signing up. Probably we will have to talk about that after the program, all right? But I'm serious about doing this. All right. So for people like me who wants to know those kind of things about what we are discussing here, and very important too, how are you going about getting people to know in terms of increasing awareness then and keeping in touch with the people as it relates to the PURC and what it is that you do?
Mikey, we have in the past, we have been having consultations and working group sessions, especially on some of the regulations that Davrel would have spoken about to ensure that the sector is sustainable. We've been having consultations, working group sessions. We've been engaging the public. We went to all of the parishes, including the sister islands of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. And just before COVID really hit us in the gut, we had just begun our community outreach program, where again we were going to go to each of the parishes, including Carriacou and Petit Martinique. We were going to engage the public, speak to them, give them brochures, tell them how they can sign up. Not only you, Mikey, but tell everyone how they can sign up for our self-generation program and the IPP program. How can you generate your own electricity, use it, and sell the excess to Grenlec and have some money in your pocket while decreasing your electricity bill? We were doing that. We had the first one in St. George, and then boom, COVID really hit us and we had to put a pause to that. But we are here now on Mikey Live, and I know your listeners are eagerly anticipating because this opportunity did not pass you, right? Mikey, I sent you a picture today of what persons can win, right?
Yeah,
There
exciting.
is a really nice beach, an umbrella, and it's fairly simple. So simple, guys. So simple. No, do not text my phone. Type in your answers, okay? I am going to give you one of the easiest exams ever, and I think that's our favorite, a multiple choice question, right? And let's see who is fast on the typing. I don't want to hear 1, 2, 3, or 4. I want you to actually type out the answer for me, okay? So here is the question. We're going right in, and this is for an umbrella, a really pretty PURC umbrella. They come in various colors. The question is, what is energy conservation? What is energy conservation? And I'm going to give you a list of 4 options to choose from. Is it using no energy at all? Is it using less energy? Is it using more energy than you need? Or is it using exactly the same amount of energy as everyone else? So what is energy conservation? The person, the listener, the viewer who can type in their answers the fastest as possible and get it right, you can win yourself a PURC umbrella.
Okay, so that's a very easy one, and let's see who that lucky person will be to get that PURC umbrella. So it was a multiple choice, and we all like multiple choices. All right. So what is energy conservation? And Sophie, you were saying?
Yeah, I can go over it really fast again because persons, they probably want to get the wording right, right? So what is energy conservation? 1, using no energy at all. 2, using less energy. 3, using more energy than you need. Or 4, using exactly the same amount of energy as everyone else. Those are your options.
All right, and the person with the quickest response, with the quickest correct response.
Correct
Yes.
response.
Yeah, so the person with the quickest correct response will get that PURC umbrella. Okay, so I see that we have an answer in the chat. Sophie, have you seen it? There is already an answer in the chat, so you'll tell them whether or not.
I'm trying to look at it right now.
All right, so Sophie will tell you whether or not you are correct. We have the first person. We have Sabrina. Sabrina Phillips says using less energy as possible. Okay, so Sabrina says using less energy as possible. And Sophie, you say?
I say she is correct. She did include that extra word possible, which then makes it relative as to how much energy one used, right?
Right.
But yeah, she is correct. So she gets a PURC umbrella.
All right,
But
congratulations. Go ahead, Sophie.
There is a bigger one.
Okay.
There is a bigger one, Mikey.
Okay.
And this one, it doesn't involve Google, right? I just want everybody to relax. You've got this. You just have to think about what you do at home every day, especially in the COVID situation that we're in right now. We have more people at home doing online classes. We have more people at home working from home. So I want you to tell me, in your everyday life, what are 3 things you do to use less electricity or energy? 3 things.
All right, so that's the next question. What are 3 things you do to use less energy? And that's under the same bracket as conservation, as you just spoke, right? How the ways that we can conserve. All right, let's go again. So, folks, this is your question, and let's start getting the answers. Okay, so the answers are popping up. Okay.
Mikey, I cannot see them from my end, so you will have to help me out here.
Okay, no problem. No problem. I can do that.
Mikey, the judge. Mikey, I hope you're not sending in your answers.
I can't. How do I do that? Tell me how I can send in my answer.
Technology, use another phone.
Okay, let me see. Okay, and there's usually a delay, about a 30 seconds delay, so we have to give them that to hear what we just said, and then we will get. Oh, and you know what? I'm wondering if there also are viewers who are responding as well on YouTube. Let me see. Okay, so we do not have any.
Oh, the YouTubers.
Yeah, we don't have any correct answer on the YouTube yet. All right, so that's good for now. Okay, yeah, so we have YouTubers.
Did I mention it's a beach chair?
No,
I don't know if you guys saw. Yes,
wow.
yes, it is. We
A beach
posted a picture of it on our Facebook page. Go follow us, PURC Grenada, and it's a beach chair. You can relax on it, and if you have your own umbrella, or maybe the first winner can share her umbrella. It's really nice, really relaxing.
I think we have an answer here, and Slim Charles says, wash my hand, so Slim Charles is saying, wash with my hands, open my fridge less, and iron in large amounts.
Slim Charles. I do the same.
Oh,
yes, congratulations. You won yourself a beach
hands.
chair.
You wash your hands as well?
Don't mind the nails, but I do, Mikey. I do.
Okay. All right. So congratulations to you, Slim Charles. And I think, do you have more questions? Do you have more giveaways, Sophie?
I do have one more for a drawstring bag. Do we have time to do that?
We can do that quickly. If you can come up with
Okay.
another question. Since
So
that,
yeah, we have been talking about renewable energy a lot, and Davrel, the engineer, would have mentioned some sources of renewable energy. If the listeners and the viewers were actually paying attention, tell me, what are two sources of renewable energy? Only two. There are so many, but just give me two.
Okay, no problem. All right. So you heard the question, two sources, and we are accepting your answers right now. Okay, well, we got so many responses from Sophie from the last questions, but of course, a lot of them are very correct, but we're dealing with the first correct answer.
Yeah.
All right, so, all right. So, Sophie, how many? Okay, I think we have a winner here. We have a winner here. Well, you'll determine that. So the person says here, sun and wind.
Perfect.
Okay.
That drawstring bag is yours. What's the
Okay.
name? What's the person's name?
And that's Shaliza Jabbar. All right.
That's your bag.
That's
So
your
after
bag.
the program, we will be contacting the winners to facilitate pickup.
Right. So, Sophie and Davel, I really appreciate you spending the time with us. So, tell us more about the PURC and what it is that you do. Before we wrap up tonight's program, I just want to any of you to kind of like remind us of the role of the public utilities, the PURC, all right? The public. Sorry. It is the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, the PURC. Remind us about the importance of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. I don't know any one of you who would want to do that.
Sophia, I think we could maybe split that one.
Yeah, man, half.
Sure. Well, as mentioned before, the PURC is basically here for the consumer, for the sector, for the ensuring of a sustainable sector, sustainable supply of PURC. So one of the things, one of the roles that I had mentioned before was on the consumer side, right? We are here as the mediator between the utility company and the consumer. So we take complaints, we take disputes, and we are like the third party. We listen to them and then we issue a judgment. Also, we are definitely providing you with alternative ways of making money and keeping money in your pocket. We have the renewable energy programs that they're still open, so persons can come in or call us and they can sign up for it. So those are some of our roles and function, and obviously we are important. We are here to stay. Get in touch with us.
Okay, thanks, Sophie, and all the best to you. All right, Sophie. Okay, Davel.
The PRC has a centralized role in this whole energy energy stuff. I mean, if I were to easily put out our role in with all the different players, I'd say we were the referee. And I hate to be the one to, well, bring a lot of pessimism or any pessimism at all to this really nice positive program, but people have to look out also for bad players. You have a game, you're gonna have bad players, right? Somebody who wants to do a system, you get a quote from somebody who can install it, or the smart way to go would be maybe to get multiple quotes. No, something seems iffy, or you want to make sure that you're making the right decision, you contact the office. We're here to help you, understanding that it's a regulated market. There are certain benefits from it, and there would have been the whole concept of previously in an unregulated market where people would have done what they wanted. People would have sadly gotten ripped off. It's different now. You have somebody, or you have a body that you can refer to for advice. And that's one of the very important roles we play. Also, if there is or if there are issues with customers from the utility, we can act as a mediator. So we do recommend that you go to the utility, try to solve the problem, but in the event that you get to an impasse, you can always come to the PRC and get a third party view, an independent, unbiased body that is going to look at both sides and make a ruling on whatever the issue is. So you do have that option as well. So I can't say this enough. If you have any doubts, any questions, you're curious, you can always get in touch with the office. I mean, it's not just telephone. You can send an email. You can look for us on social media. There are multiple ways of getting in touch with the office. And it's better to do that before getting yourself in hot water than running to the PRC for help after you would have gotten yourself in trouble. It's much better to be proactive and to get the advice before you make a big decision.
Sounds good. Well, Davrel, thank you very much. And Sophie, again, thank you very much for, again, spending that time with us to let us know more about who you are and what it is that you do. This should not be a one-off thingy. I would like to extend an invitation to you to be back with us, and as well to our viewers to come back with us just the same, so that we can continue this dialogue on this very important subject. So again, thank you very much, Sophie and Davrel.
Mikey, thanks for having us. You know, we promised since when was that?
A while, right? Yes.
Yeah, well, we complied.
Yes. So thank you again. So we could promise again that we will see sometime soon, and we show
For sure.
it will be. It might be slow show. So soon we'll be back.
We plan to come to see you in December, Mikey.
Okay, well that's perfect.
Yes, and before we go, Mikey, I would like to just remind persons of how to get in touch with us. We are located at Queen's Park. Our telephone number, it's 437-1602. Email office@purc.gd, and the website, which you can get all those valuable information that we just shared with you, it's www.purc.gd.
Sounds good. So thanks again, lady and gentlemen, and all the best. We'll see in December, right? We'll see soon.
Yes. Thank you, Mikey.
All right, take care. All the best. All right, viewers, and that's it for our program for today. Do have a good one. We'll see at 9 o'clock later on tonight.